Christ back at you. I hope everyone's transitioning well with COVID-19. I'm doing well. Finally got a haircut, so thank you all for bearing with me. I also want to say prayers out to all the families who are dealing with some of the hardships of life. And with that being said, I feel like the topic of today's discussion or this video is freedom and responsibilities, and especially with a lot of things that are going on in the world today. So, Sigmund Freud put it best. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. And I think that is so true in present day society because oftentimes you hear people say, hey, I want the freedom to travel when I want to. I want the freedom to live in whatever subdivision I choose and send my kids to whatever school that I want them to go into. But they don't understand that it's responsibility that comes with that. And not only a financial responsibility, not only a cultural responsibility, but as a citizen and as a individual, period, it's certain responsibilities come along with that. In order to live in the home or the subdivision that you want to live in, you have to make a certain amount of income, and that income is usually dictated on a few things, which is education, experience, your work ethic, what people think of you, your performance. Anybody that's in sales know everything's about performance. So when you're talking about the end goal of you want the beautiful spouse, the handsome spouse with the smart kids, with the nice cars and all that. I mean, to have a loving spouse, that means you have to be a loving spouse. I know it sounds very simple. I know it sounds very rudimentary. It sounds very elementary. It sounds like, okay, duh. But how many times have we all been sitting on the sofa looking at TV and say, man, it looks like they have a great relationship, but never take the time to research and how did the Will Smiths and Jada Pinkett get to this point. But when you hear those stories, the stories behind the curtains, and you realize how much they put in the work. Or we look at the Steve Jobs, or we look at the Bill Gates and say, man, these guys have a ton of money. But when you read their autobiographies, you read their books, as you look at the documentaries, and you see all the hell they went through when they started companies, and they had maybe 50 folks who could have invested, but only 8 people invested. I mean, you gotta understand that crushes people's spirits. So for me, when we talk about freedom, especially in a time such as this, we have to look at ourselves and say, hey, how can we hold ourselves accountable and responsible to make sure that, events like the George Floyd and the other young men that have been killed, how can we ensure that doesn't happen? And I've seen a lot of text messages, I've seen a lot of phone calls, I've received a lot of emails from different people, all backgrounds, and expressed all kinds of views on it. But essentially, I think it's everyone's responsibilities. We can't sit back idly and say, hey, that's somebody else's issue. Now, here's the thing. Everybody has a role to play in the responsibility, right? So, you have in a company, the company's failing, you can't just say, oh, well, Blockbuster is failing because of the frontline workers, the cashiers that work at Blockbuster. Also, you can't just put it on the executives either. And I think that's important to look at things, especially what's going on in today's society, say everybody in this society has a role, even international has a role in this. And what can we do to help each other out? It kind of reminds me of, I was reading 50 Cent's book, which I just finished, which is a great book. I think I talked about it on my last video. And he made reference to a whipping boy. And, most people think, slavery, stuff like that. But actually, a whipping boy is back in Europe, in Renaissance Europe, where a prince would have a servant who, when the prince failed a test, nobody could whip the prince, but they could whip the servant. And so literally there was a servant dedicated to receive the whippings of the prince. Now, is this messed up? Absolutely. No shadow of a doubt. without a shadow of a doubt, it's horrible. It's probably the worst thing imagining. And anybody who has siblings probably can imagine that we've all been through that some sort. But when we talk about responsibility, we talk about, okay, how do we help a group of individuals who may not understand the magnitude of what's going on, or may not understand what it all took you to get to your success. I think it's important to look at this whipping boy and say, okay, hey, this servant may not know better. However, I, as the prince, should know better, especially with individuals who are educated and individuals who have a lot going for themselves. I think it's our responsibility to look back and help those who are less fortunate, even though they're not knowing that they're being helped. I have a good friend of mine, Matt, and Matt doesn't have a problem me talking to him about this, but he's a devout Christian, and he helps a homeless person, Ernest, and he has nothing to gain from it, nothing at all. It isn't. Yeah, he can get some Facebook likes and some Instagram likes, but at the end of the day, it's not about those likes and those double taps on Instagram. But Matt is a true calling for what he wants to do. Now Matt's white and Ernest is black, and obviously I don't think that's the issue for Matt. I really don't think it's an issue for Ernest. But long story, what I'm trying to tell you is, it's in situations like that, even if it's just one person's life, that we need to reach and help. And this applies not only in the racial tension that we're living in right now, but it applies in business. You see somebody who's trying to move up the corporate ladder, and they might not be as polished as Larry Thornton would say. It's our duty to help them. We need to let them know the things that they don't know. One of my favorite movies is Pulp Fiction with John Travolta and Samuel Jackson, and he always says the known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. And there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know, and they just assume that they know. One thing I would like to leave with is, mistakes are a fact of life. It's a response to error that counts. So even though you might not have even made this mistake or made a bad decision, if you're in a position to help someone, it's our duty to respond to the error, even if it's not our mistake. Even though we didn't make the bad decision, and keep in mind, I believe it's two different things. One is a mistake, and another is a bad decision. A mistake is what you make on a spelling test. A bad decision is something you consciously decide to do. And I don't want anybody to confuse the two. But regardless of what you decide to do or what has happened, or whether you haven't even had a hand in it, it's our responsibility. If you really want to create a world of true freedom, it's everybody's responsibility to hold each other's feet to the fire. And this is in organizations, this is in business, this is in religion, this is in spousal relationship, this is with children. I mean, I have 2 kids, and I'm constantly, working on them, and I'm finding ways to make myself better. Because, so wise one said, I think this was Bob Proctor or Wayne Dyer, is don't wish that it was easier, wish that it was better. All right, guys, that's my last 2 cents on it. Feel free to like, share, comment, post. Follow me at Get Rice Now. That's GETRICENOW on all platforms, on my Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and all the above. You guys have a blessed day.